Welcome back. Today we are diving into one of the biggest, most exciting, and kind of terrifying decisions you can make. Should you buy a house that's already standing or build one from scratch? It's a huge question, and the answer is almost never black and white.
So let's just start with that. Seriously, think about it for a second. When you picture your absolute dream home, is it a charming place you stumble upon in a neighborhood you love? Or is it something that, right now, only exists in your head? A blueprint, just waiting to become real.
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll hit the three big trade-offs that everyone, and I mean everyone, has to weigh. Then we'll take a quick trip around the world to see how where you live totally changes the game. From there, we'll figure out which path might fit your personality, and we'll wrap it all up with a super simple checklist to help you make the call. Okay, let's get into it. No matter who you are or where you live, the whole buy versus build decision really comes down to a battle between these three things: your money, your time, and how much control you want over the final product. Nailing this part is absolutely key. First up, the big one: money. Building a home usually feels like a series of financial hurdles. You've got to buy the land, secure a special construction loan, pay architects, and let's be honest, there's always the risk of going over budget. Something unexpected always pops up. On the other hand, buying is just simpler. You get one price, one mortgage, and boom, you start building equity from day one. It's really the difference between a financial marathon and a sprint. But here's where things get interesting. The market can totally flip the script on you. Just look at this snapshot from the US in 2025. Prices for existing homes actually went up, while prices for brand new homes dipped a little. It's a great reminder that new doesn't automatically mean better investment in the short term. Sometimes that established market is just more stable. Okay, next up, time. And whoa, the difference here is just massive. Check out these numbers. In the UK, a custom build can easily eat up a year or two of your life. Now compare that to buying a house in the US, where you could have the keys in your hand in as little as 30 to 45 days. We're talking about a completely different impact on your life. And it's not just about the calendar days. This quote from Amerisave just nails it. Building a home isn't something you do on the side. You're constantly managing people, making a million tiny decisions, and putting out fires. It is a huge drain on your mental energy. Some people even call it a stress tax. And that brings us to our third battleground: control. This, right here, is why people fall in love with the idea of building. You get to call all the shots: the layout, the windows, the doorknobs, every little detail. When you buy, you're choosing convenience, for sure, and maybe a great location, but you are almost always accepting a long list of compromises. And here's the long-term payoff for all that control: in cold, hard cash. Because you can build with all the latest energy-saving tech, you can literally slash your utility bills by 30, even 50% compared to an older, draftier house. That's real money back in your pocket every single month. Of course, these trade-offs, money, time, and control, they don't exist in a vacuum. Your local reality, the laws, the price of land, the availability of workers, that can completely change the math. So, let's see how this actually plays out in a few different spots around the globe. Here in the US, the market is really split in two. You've got your big developers building tract homes, which are a faster, cheaper way to get a new house, but you don't get many choices. Or you can go for a full custom build, which gives you total freedom for a much higher price. And good luck finding an affordable empty lot in a lot of popular suburbs. That can be the hardest part. Now, hop over to the UK and it's a whole different story. The deck is seriously stacked against you if you want to build. Strict greenbelt laws mean land is incredibly hard to come by. And the planning permission process, it's famously slow, taking around 9 months on average. It's a perfect example of how local rules can make buying the only practical option for most people. Australia has this really fascinating third option: the knockdown rebuild. Basically, you find a house you don't love in a neighborhood you do love, tear it down, and build your dream home right on the same spot. It's a great reminder to think outside the box. Sometimes the best solution is a creative one. And over in the EU, you're looking at a tale of two different worlds. In the heart of historic cities like Paris or Rome, building new is just not an option. You buy and you renovate. That's it. It's the ultimate example of how the location you want can make the decision for you before you even start. So, after that quick world tour, let's bring it all back home, back to you. Based on everything we've talked about, which path actually makes sense for your life and your priorities? Let's look at 3 common types of people. First up, the time-poor professional.
Look, if your calendar is just jammed and you can't even imagine taking on a part-time job to build a house, the answer here is crystal clear. Buying a home that's already built gives you speed, certainty, and way less hassle. For you, convenience is king.
Okay, next, the long-term value maximizer. If your number one goal is the best possible investment, building is usually the way to go. A brand new, energy-efficient home with modern features on a great piece of land will often be the most valuable asset in the long run. The trick is just making sure you don't overbuild for the neighborhood.
And finally, the sustainability enthusiast. If having a home with a tiny environmental footprint is your top priority, well, this one's a no-brainer. Building is the hands-down winner. It's the only way you can weave in all the latest green tech, from solar panels to super-efficient insulation, right from the very start.
All right, we've gone through the big trade-offs, the global differences, and the personality types. So how do you actually pull all of this together and make a decision? It really just comes down to this simple, practical checklist.
Here it is. Step 1. Do your homework on your local area. How hard is it to find land? How long do permits take? What are construction costs like? Step 2. Be brutally honest with yourself about your time and money. How quickly do you really need to move? And do you have an extra 10 or 20% in your budget for surprises? Because there will be surprises. And finally, step 3. Get crystal clear on what matters most to you. Is it the location, a custom floor plan, or just getting moved in with the least amount of stress possible? In the end, there's no single right answer. The perfect path for you depends on a clear-eyed look at all these factors. But now you have the framework. You know the right questions to ask. So the only thing left to figure out is, what will your blueprint be?